Figuring out is how do we continue to improve it? How do we make sure that the folks who don't have health insurance can get health insurance, and those who are underinsured are able to get better health insurance?
I'm sure that the intent is noble, but I'm a taxpayer, and I'm paying Kathleen Sebelius a salary, and she screwed up, and you're not holding her accountable.
Well, I promise you that we hold everybody up and down the line accountable, but when we're midstream, Bill, that we want to make sure that our main focus is how do we make this thing work so that people are able to sign up, and that's what we've done.
Joining us now, Bob Cusack, managing editor of The Hill. He says we hold people accountable up and down the line, but to my knowledge, the only people who've been fired in this healthcare.gov rollout are that computer firm, CGI, that was initially responsible for building the website.
Yeah, that's right. And Sebelius, in congressional testimony, said, she took the blame, but she also, at the same time, blamed the federal contractor. Obviously, that contract was not renewed. That was the right choice, of course. This is a political problem for the president. The Democrats have said for years, it's going to get popular. Just wait. And now that it's in effect, the numbers are still low. So it's extremely frustrating for the White House, as well as congressional Democrats, who once again could pay a price for Obamacare, as they did in 2010, may pay the price in 2014, this year's midterms.
Yeah, this Washington Post story about the folks who have signed up for healthcare.gov or thought they had signed up for healthcare.gov and then wind up with all kinds of problems. There are 22,000 of them apparently who are in limbo, who've just been told to submit paper files, paper complaints about what has happened to their enrollment, and the files are just sitting there in a government computer somewhere with no response.
Yeah, John, once you think that the website is getting better in the process of signing up, a story like this comes out. This is a significant deal because there's just so much frustration, whether you had a plan that you liked and then you weren't able to keep it. This Obamacare is going to have some winners and losers. Some people are going to be very satisfied with the coverage they have, but the losers are going to be louder. And this also raises transparency. Remember, the administration had all the data of who was signing up, and they weren't releasing this late last year. Well, now that the program is in effect, real people's lives are being affected, and they can't control that.
Right, and they tell the story, for instance, in the Post of a young woman named Addie Wilson, 27 years old, works in West Virginia, works with at-risk families, makes less than $2,000 a month, signed up for Obamacare. She's one of the people that this program was designed to help, and she says that she's paying $100 a month more for it than she's supposed to be, and her deductible is also $4,000 too high. But she hasn't been able to fix it yet, despite the fact that she's had to have very expensive surgery.
Yeah, she needed gallbladder surgery, and she had to sign up. She was told, just sign up and then appeal, and then you have this broken appeals process. So someone like that, there are other stories. There are going to be more stories of people's lives, and certainly when you have health complications, then their lives are at risk. So these kind of stories are going to continue, and it's going to be a battle from both sides. Democrats bringing out the people that like Obamacare, and then you're going to have people here that we don't know the party affiliation, but if it affects you negatively, certainly that's going to affect how you vote.
Yeah, and it seems, the president still gave Bill O'Reilly a pretty full-throated defense of Obamacare. We knew there were going to be glitches and so forth, and yet, nobody, as I mentioned earlier, it seems like nobody, at least in the federal government, has lost a position, been demoted, been disciplined because of it.
Yeah, and congressional Republicans note that, and they also note the IRS scandal. A lot of heads didn't roll there either. Basically, the IRS commissioner who was headed out the door was let go. But overall, that's been frustration. And then from congressional Democrats, there are some Democrats on Capitol Hill who certainly wouldn't have minded if Kathleen Sebelius lost her job. She's persevered through it, and the president's sticking with her. Has it gotten better than the disastrous rollout in the fall? Yeah, a little bit better. But we'll see what people are talking about, come November. Is Obamacare better? Are the poll numbers better? It is continually under 50%.
Yeah, observers have noted in the past that if you lose Kathleen Sebelius, whether she resigns or gets fired, then you have another round of hearings to confirm a new HHS secretary, and that gives congressional Republicans and Democrats, frankly, an opportunity to open up the whole can of worms again.
Exactly. They don't want to go through that process.
All right. Bob, thanks very much for being with us.
Thanks, John.